I think if Bitcoin could hit 1 million by 2030, AI bubble collapsing, massive money printing, there's yield curve control of the US. We have the ingredients. The time is now. 58,000 was probably the bottom in Bitcoin, and now it's going to grind higher in this hate rally. What Trump says or does is irrelevant. Look at what Bassett does. Read the Treasury, read the Fed, read the monetary authorities. ETH is going to hate fuck your portfolio.
Hello, welcome back to Cointelegraph's Trade Secrets, our very own markets show. My name's Kieran. I'm your host today, and I'm joined by the one and only Arthur Hayes. Arthur, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on, man. It's a very crucial time for the crypto market right now. We've seen a bounce in Bitcoin. Leads me to my first question. Are we beyond the bottom for Bitcoin? Is it only up from here?
I think so. I think obviously you could retrace a bit. There's a massive and very painful short squeeze for a lot of folks. But I think the fundamental reason why Bitcoin reacted the way it did is that it's now common knowledge that the US debt level is so high and so expensive that they are resorting to de facto yield curve control. And that was the admission by Bassett that he had to conduct these upsize of buybacks of the long end by funding it by issuing more bills at the short end. So is that like this is the first time that he's done this or that the Treasury Department has done this, but it's the timing, it's the level at which it happened, it's all the other context around it. And I think the market is like, okay, great. We know what this is. This is Bank of Japan. They might not call it yield curve control. They call it Treasury buyback. There'll be some funky names. But at the end of the day, it's money printing. And, Bitcoin and altcoins and all these things respond very well to central bank money printing.
And you said not too long ago that over the next 6 months, Bitcoin might go down as low as 40,000. So has your opinion changed since this?
Absolutely. I mean, again, we need the fundamental liquidity driver. And the 10-year yield approaching 5% elicited a response. The yen at 162 elicited a response, right? And it's all the same theme, which is the Treasury market is sacrosanct. The U.S. government must be allowed to issue as much debt as it wants to affordably finance itself. And if that is called into question, they will print as much money, change as many rules as possible to make sure that that happens.
So now that this has changed, I feel like we're getting the first scoop from Arthur. So how does the next 6 months pan out now in your revised mind by the end of this year?
So again, I think obviously it's not that much money that's actually going into the long end of the market, but it's more about the signal. And so I think this will be a very hated rally because everyone's, Bitcoin didn't do as well as AI. My Micron was up 50x, and then SK Hynix was up 30x or whatever. Like, why would you ever be in Bitcoin? So I think there's a large wall of worry that has to get quantum and AI, this, that, right? And so I don't think this is oh my God, we're going to wake up next week and Bitcoin's at 120,000. No. But it's going to slowly grind higher and higher and higher. And there's going to be more signposts along the way that yield curve control is in fact in place in the United States and that treasuries are not money good. You cannot sell them in size. So please buy something else with this money. And so I think that will slowly lead to a, steady, methodical rise in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
And it wasn't obviously too long ago where Trump now has not said yes, not said no, but was pretty positive when he was asked about the US government accumulating Bitcoin as well. So how much do you think that answer that he made had on Bitcoin's price rise too?
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. What Trump says or does is irrelevant. Look at what Bassett does. Read the Treasury, read the Fed, read the monetary authorities. Trump is just, a very entertaining politician, but he has no effect on the price of Bitcoin.
Do you think he's kind of lost that respect from the Bitcoin investors and more broadly crypto market now? I mean, what he says and what he doesn't, because obviously before his, presidency and before he started, things that he was saying was having a lot of meaning and people were super bullish on that. But you think now people don't really care what he says and the market kind of doesn't really react to it either?
Yeah, and that's who knows, right? Because at the end of the day, if he says something that's consequential to the path of future money printing, that's very important to the price of Bitcoin. But politics is politics. And at the time in which he was super bullish Bitcoin, people in the US were very sad panicked because they didn't have any friends. And Trump was their friend. And so they handed a bunch of money and got him elected. And he said all the right things. And, I guess you could say that the Genius Act was passed, but no Clarity Act. I mean, I think it's a terrible bill, but that's my opinion. So there's no Clarity Act. There's no strategic Bitcoin reserve. Again, he keeps talking. Cool, whatever. Doesn't matter. What is going to pump the price of Bitcoin? If Trump is afraid that the Democratic Socialists are actually going to be able to mount a real electoral challenge to him in the House and the Senate, he's going to have to get those goodies out there. And he is the S&P 500 president. That is what he thinks means he's done a good job. S&P 500 number go up. So if that is his metric, and the number go up is very easy, print some more money. Make sure that 10-year doesn't go above 5%, right? Get Besson to do all sorts of tricks. Get Warsh to do all sorts of tricks. Get the S&P 100, 5 up, Bitcoin goes up too. Great.
Now, when we spoke in Vegas, you pretty much said the Clarity Act doesn't matter. Crypto is going to be fine regardless of what happens with the Clarity Act. And at that point in time, the odds, and it was looking a lot more optimistic that the Clarity Act would actually pass in 2026, whereas now it's very uncertain as well. So first of all, are you thinking that it's going to pass?
I don't follow it really at all, but I think at a high level, if you think about the political meta in America, as much as Trump, caters to crypto bros and sort of rhetoric, I don't think it's very smart politics. And so he's got a lot of tight races out there, right? Is he going to expend political capital getting through the Clarity Act or something else that actually matters to the median undecided voter? I don't think the median undecided voter gives two fucks whether, what a broker is on the DeFi front end or any of this shit that's in this bill. Like, they don't care. They do care that the data center has made their electricity bills go up, and things like that, right? How is Trump? What's the message going to be on that, right? They do care that they can't afford a house. Like, these are the things they do care about. Do they care about crypto bros getting some sort of regulations? No, no one gives a fuck about that. And so, why would you waste political capital when there's other things that you need to get done to make sure that your team wins in November?
Absolutely, man. And can you tell us, what scares you about crypto right now? Obviously, you've been in crypto for over a decade, Arthur. So, the current landscape and, what you're seeing in crypto, what scares you the most about the market right now?
I mean, I'm not really scared about the market. I don't think it has anything to do with crypto. It's more like, global war is bad for business. War is very bad for business. There's all sorts of new types of ways people can wage war. It's much cheaper to wage war. It could come to your doorstep and you wouldn't even know it. And your electricity is out, or you lose these modern services because there's some drone attack or whatever, right? Like, if I was going to be scared of anything, that's what I would be scared of. And the crypto thing is kind of almost a secondary concern. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like, it'll go up or go down. I think it'll go up in time because they're going to print more money. But at the end of the day, there's other things to be worried about outside of the crypto ecosystem. But again, I don't use any leverage, so I guess I'm not as concerned about the day-to-day price swings and the prices of cryptos.
Now, another point we did talk about in Vegas was Hyperliquid, and you were super bullish on that. And you've been very vocal about how bullish you are on Hyperliquid as well. And that was something that Trump also mentioned in his speech recently too. So I want to know from you, revised prediction since we spoke in Vegas. What's your thoughts on Hyperliquid now moving towards the end of this year? Are we going to see a big uptrend in Hyperliquid, or are we still waiting for more confirmation on where Bitcoin's price goes first?
No, I mean, Hyperliquid was the best performing large cap crypto of this last cycle, and we did well on that. I think we got in the low 30s, cashed out around 75. Great trade for us. I don't think there's that type of asymmetry in the price right now. Everybody knows that Hyperliquid is here. It's not this like unknown thing that's outperforming expectations, right? There's massive expectations now on Hyperliquid. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to go up in price, but I think there's better risk rewards, at least for the capital at Maelstrom, to deploy into the shitcoin space than Hype. Even though I think it's going to continue to go up, and I hope that it makes the CME and the NYSE go out of business.
So you don't think the upside is there as much for Hyperliquid as opposed to other assets right now in crypto?
So my number one pick right now is Ethereum. I think that is a better risk reward for a spare unit of fiat that's going to be deployed into crypto than Hyperliquid. That doesn't necessarily mean that Hyperliquid won't rise in price. I just don't think it's poised for a 5xer. and like where I think Ethereum could do, 3 to 5x pretty quickly.
Yeah. And what makes you bullish on Ethereum now?
Because everybody hates it. It's the one mega cap crypto that has not eclipsed its 2021 all-time high. It's the base layer for DeFi, and it's hated for a lot of good reasons. But at the end of the day, it has not performed. And I think now it's time to perform because it's been so beaten down and so forgotten. And we saw it rip 20% when Bitcoin ripped, was it's 5-6%, whatever it was, right? So there is that pent up. Oh shit, I got to chase ETH. ETH's back now. Oh yeah, ETH. Yeah, base layer, most developers, and you can name all the things about why ETH is the best, right? But you needed to see that price go up of it first before you start to name them.
So you think purely like your bullishness for ETH comes from there's going to be a hate rally that comes because
Correct.
people are just hating it right now. So
ETH is going to hate fuck your portfolio.
And then where does it go after that? Look, we got Ethereum that say goes up like crazy. Are we going to start seeing maybe some of the other dinosaur tokens as well have its moment? Like, do you see Cardano coming back and maybe having another hate rally too?
I'm a Cardano hater. I don't think so. I mean, the other, I think, great risk reward trade right now is Ethena, because Ethena's usefulness is predicated on the price of dollars synthetically being expensive. And that only happens when Bitcoin starts going up. And so, a lot of shorts got torched yesterday, especially in the vol space. So if you were a call overwriter, you had absolutely creamed yesterday. Vols are up massively, spots up massively. It's just a perfect negative storm for anyone short gamma, short volatility, which again, a lot of people are, because it was a yield harvesting strategy during this very boring bear market. But that people got torched, right? And so you're going to start seeing people buy back into the market, bases expand, the circulating supply of USDE will increase, and that is going to levitate Ethena off the bottom. I think Ethena is poised for an easy 5xer in the next 6 months.
And right now, like, a retail investor might be watching this and thinking, God, I've got to get into ETH. I've got to put money into Bitcoin, Ethena, Hype. There's all these tokens. So, for a retail investor with maybe $10,000 right now, and they want to allocate it across the crypto market, what would you say they should do, Arthur?
I'd say they should be patient. They should think about their goal, how much money they are willing to make, how much money they're willing to lose, and how much stress that they want in their life, right? How much does that $10,000 mean to you? I don't have any other recommendation other than that, because, my trading style is not your trading style, right? And so I think it's a personal journey. And for me to tell you need to buy this or that token, it's not really the prepper type of advice.
And what's your year-end Bitcoin? I mean, I know last year was 250K for a Bitcoin for yourself. So, and like you weren't alone, there was others as well in the space, but what's your new year-end Bitcoin price for 2026?
150,000. Let's go there.
Yeah. And can you give us, like, when you come up with predictions, is that just something you kind of feel like before you said about Ethereum and the hate rally, and you're like, look, everyone's hating it, so it's going to pump back? With Bitcoin end of year price targets, what's your thinking and mentality?
I have no methodology because it's a dumb thing to do, is predict the price. The price is irrelevant, right? I predict the narrative. I predict the money printing. And then I say, okay, I buy some Bitcoin, or I buy some ETH, or I buy some Ethena. And then I wait for if my narrative is right, great, you hold it until the narrative changes, until the liquidity situation changes. The price at which that ceases to be true, it's the price that ceases to be true. And that is what it is. I don't know what that's going to be. I have an idea of what I think it could be, but what it could be and what it is, who cares? Doesn't matter, right?
Is there any prediction that you remember being bang on for yourself? Like you were spot on and you were like, yes, I got that one right.
I think I called ETH as a 2-digit shitcoin when it was like 250 or something, and it went traded down like 60 or something. So like, yeah, I got it right. Cool, whatever. But like the amount of times that I've actually gotten a price prediction right is like so small, but I still make money, because that's not how you make money in trading, because you're never going to be right about the price. It's all about, at least in my philosophy and my style of trading, you get the liquidity situation right first, then you pick the fastest horse, and the horse goes as far as the horse can go, and then you get off the horse and do it again.
Now, I want to talk to you about BitMEX as well, because obviously recently it was announced that BitMEX, the exchange that you founded, around a decade ago, is now going to be shut down as well. I mean, first of all, how do you feel about your own baby shutting down after so long and being a leader in the space as well? How does that feel for you?
It feels excellent. We shut it down because we wanted to shut it down, not because we
Mm.
got hacked. Um, and so I think that is the best way to go, right? We landed the plane on our own terms. And so I'm very happy with what we did, what our decisions, and I'm excited. It's great. I'm thankful.
Do you think other exchanges are going to I mean, look, the market's obviously had a rough year as well. Do you see other exchanges following suit as well, or
I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, there's so many exchanges that we don't hear about that shut down all the time, right? Maybe that's nefarious or not, but like they come and go. It's a perfectly competitive market. There hasn't really been a new product since the perpetual swap that we created. And so like, unless you have scale, like a Binance or a Bybit or an OKX, like it's really a mug's game. There's no point in even playing because it's just so expensive to secure it, so expensive to run the tech, and the data centers. Like it doesn't make any sense as a business. So thankfully, we were able to extract some value out of that as BitMEX over our time. But I would not be starting a new centralized derivatives exchange today in the crypto ecosystem.
and tell us, like, you're now you've got a job again, Arthur, as well. You're heading
Yes,
up your own.
I'm employed.
You're a CEO again. You're a busy man now. Your new company flops. So tell us about that.
So, back in 2014, 2013, I had this feeling that crypto derivatives are going to be so massive.
Mm.
And I was so lucky to have the opportunity to try to make a successful business. I have the same feeling today about the AI agentic economy. It's going to be massive, and there will be a payments network that powers this economy. And whoever owns that is going to be fabulously wealthy. It's just going to be that big. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that Flop Lab is going to be that that entity. I hope it is, and that's the bet that I'm making. But I want to go elephant hunting. I want to be really successful or you fail. Nothing in between. Is not the point of this. And so when I saw that and I saw the gap in the market of a lack of a decentralized place where you can buy compute using any currency, but obviously a native one to flop, and the fact that agents don't have a way to consume their life force in a decentralized fashion away from a centralized company or opaque pricing from these frontier labs, I found a perfect opportunity to sort of create the demand function for why an agent should want to hold flop. If our proof of useful inference blockchain, which creates a spot market for compute, floating point operations per unit of time, this is what you're actually doing when you're telling an agent to do some work. They're doing some sort of computational output. Then we have we have the way in which we can create the demand for flop, and users will use it, and then the network will become very, very valuable, right? And to overcome the coordination problem of getting self-interested entities to come together to create one network from the cold start,
Mm.
there's a magical thing called a token. If used correctly and given out to the right people for the right reasons who participate in the network, then you can create the positive flywheel and get your network going. So that's why there's no pre-sale. That's why there's no, let's go get A16Z to give us $100 million at some, ridiculous valuation. Who cares? That doesn't mean that anyone's going to use your network. Let's take this token, create some demand, create some hype, and say, hey, you get some miner, you get some validator, you get some KOL who's going to bring your community in. You get some average person who just wants to have their agent process a request. We want everyone to use this to work towards this goal of creating a future where agentic economy is based on the flop network and we all got wealthy together. And if we can do that, then the sky is the limit in terms of the valuation of this network. And I'm excited about that type of arc, right? This isn't sort of like, oh yeah, we made a 10 billion market cap project, pat ourselves on the back. No, fuck that. Like we're either like moving up in terms of Bitcoin type market caps or we're
Mm.
a zero. And I think that is the way I look at this opportunity. And that's why I'm so excited about it.
And tell us, how can your everyday investor get in on the airdrop then?
So follow our exit. It's flop_labs.
Mm.
And at the lowest level, all you'll have to do is create a wallet, go to the faucet, get some testnet flop, take that testnet flop and spend it on inference on the network. And that alone will guarantee you some small amount of flop on the mainnet. So we make it as easy as that to as hard as get a bunch of GPUs together and mine the currency and help upkeep the network, right? There's participate in any way you can.
Awesome. And look, just more broadly speaking around, AI tokens was a big narrative last year as well. And a lot of them have obviously gone down since with the market downturn. Do you see a resurgence where, the next uptrend in the market, we're going to see a lot of those same AI tokens come back? Or is it more like they're all done and now it's kind of moving towards the new wave of tokens, the flops and everything else that comes alongside it?
Depends on the tokenomics, right? As I said, a lot of teams fucked up their tokenomics. So they don't even have the chance to participate in this wave because maybe they have a massive VC overhang, or the farm was given out in the wrong way for the wrong type of usage. So the wrong type of holder has their token and they burned all the goodwill of the community, right? So I don't know. I think it really depends on how you use this magical thing called a token, because the ideas and the theories that I presented is not original. People have been saying this for a very long time. The gap of the market is there is no spot market for compute, and people have not used tokens correctly to get participation in the network. If we do those things, correctly, I think we have the greatest shot at hitting this home run.
And why are you so passionate about, bringing this token to light now? Is it because over the years you have seen so much messy tokenomics and everything that you just want to get this one right for the community? Or what is it that, you're so passionate about doing it this way?
Because I have very strongly held opinions about how token projects should be launched. Obviously, one of my businesses at Maelstrom is advising projects. And to be honest, most projects don't take my advice. They listen to the brand name VC who tells them this and that. And, look at the token. It's not 99%, right? So I want to show people how this should be done. Like, this is, if you care about your community, you can create another Bitcoin. You could create another Ethereum, right? The playbook is there. The early people did it because that was the only way to do it. But then we got greedy. We thought, let's just, sell a piece of our project to the VC and go party and whatever. Okay, well, everyone's got their own gig, but thankfully I don't need to make money on this for my own livelihood, which is why you can go with a model where you're very generous to the community. There's no pre-sale and making sure that people can actually make money at this thing. Because if you do that, then I think that, the price drives the behavior. They're going to talk about it. They're going to use it. They're going to want their agent to use it because they're making money too. And the problem with AI, and this is something that I think is going to have a political ramifications across the world, is essentially we humanity, both alive and dead and long dead, built these AI with our data, with our interactions. And all these tech companies stole the data and then sold it back to us at $2 trillion valuation IPOs. So I would say a fuck you to them. Let's build something all together and have the most valuable network that's powering this agentic life force that we created via our human interactions.
Amazing. Now, Arthur, you're known as a billionaire. You still are, assuming, with the market downturn as well in crypto.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Do you think that somebody that is getting into crypto today, whether they're starting a project, whether they're jumping in, how much harder is it now to get to billionaire status in crypto than it was, even 5 years ago? Is it still a possibility now, or is it just so rare to see?
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have an original idea or be a very good trader. And I don't think that's changed today or, 12 years ago when I got started in the industry. There's no easier or harder, right? You can speak to an OG and, talk about the types of experiences they had, are completely different, but there is definitely was hardship then. There's hardship now, right? There's a lot more eyeballs, a lot more competition. But again, good idea, good product market fit, or very good trader, you can still make a lot of money in crypto.
And a lot of people obviously compare crypto now to AI, which many have said AI has sucked a lot of the capital out of crypto in recent times as well. So if somebody was deciding between, building a crypto project and an AI project, for example, yourself, if you were starting now, what would you lean towards? Is it equal opportunity, or you think that one has the upper hand right now?
I think they're both complementary, right? So in this project, the team is 4 people, right?
Yep.
And I think we're going to be able to execute very, very quickly on building this type of thing. Without sort of agentic coding tools, we would not be able to do this with this lean of a team. And to be fair, I wouldn't do it because I don't want to work with a large team. I did that before, and I didn't like it. So I think that these AI is a tool. It's a tool to accomplish a goal in business, and that business could be in AI itself. It could be in crypto. But with this new tool, you have more power to be creative if you have your own ideas, not just feeding an AI some slop and then getting some slop back, which is what we see a lot of these days, I think. But if you actually have a true idea, true to true originality, the AI tools can make you a superhuman.
And if you were looking ahead of time and, the 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 most probable reason that, say, if Flop was going to fail, what would be that reason right now for you, Arthur?
I think we didn't get the economics right. The game theory, right? We didn't anticipate a certain way it was used, and then the flywheel breaks down, and then all of a sudden you don't have sort of that complementary interaction between the miners, the validators, the speculators, and the agents, right? At the end of the day. And so if we don't get that right, we can have the most beautiful code base ever. It doesn't matter. It's a coordination game. Like the tech is a table stakes. Everyone has decent tech, right? You're not going to outperform on that. You outperform on your economics and the way in which you get humans and silicon-based life forms to work together to create something beautiful.
Amazing. Now, I spoke to Gracie Chen recently on the show as well, and we are talking about meme coins. So I do just want to touch base with you, Arthur, on meme coins as well. She doesn't think that another meme coin season is going to happen ever. I mean, what's your thoughts on this? I know we've spoke about before with selective altcoin seasons, but meme coin season specifically, do you think there's going to be another period in our life where we see all the meme coins just all go up together?
No, I think it'll be like everything else, right? There was the initial proof of the concept, and now you have to actually have a real community and real personality behind some meme coin. So like, imagine if BTS, the Korean K-pop group, launched a meme coin. That shit would be, a billion, 10 billion in an instant, right? But like random person on social media is not going to be able to create like $100 million meme coins that there were back in the pump fund days of old yonder. So I think it just changes. It becomes harder, but the asset class is there and you can use it if you want.
And we saw, like we had some celebrities that did launch tokens. I mean, obviously Trump token before his inauguration as well. And then there's been a whole lot of celebrities. Some have done better than others. But do you think that now even, a celebrity with a super, super loyal following, do you think those days of actually getting a token moving are gone because of all the downfalls in celebrity tokens?
No, I mean, I think we're going to keep perfecting this goal of how do you monetize celebrity outside of like, the centralized big tech platforms. I think that every celebrity realizes that they're at the whim of Zuckerberg, and some of these other, tech bros, right? ByteDance, I don't know who the CEO of ByteDance is, but like they're at the whim, like they can literally deplatform them and all of a sudden there goes their reach, right? So they want to use decentralization, but decentralization is expensive. You essentially have to stop using one of these centralized big tech platforms, move all your fans to another one. That's extremely hard to do and extremely expensive. It's a big switching cost. So that's the problem. We'll solve it eventually, I think. But, we tried, meme coins, we've tried other sort of methods to sort of do this celebrity distribution. And, we'll hopefully we'll land on one that works.
Yeah. And I just want to also touch base on prediction markets as well, because that's obviously been a big trend over the last 6-12 months. Do you use prediction markets for crypto prices? I know we see them all now. Bitcoin's price has got
no. I use prediction markets for election information. So I want to know, especially in the United States, right? You basically just want to know what does the market think versus the polls, and the market will have ingested all the relevant information. So I don't have to worry about this poll or that poll. If people are betting with their money, that's the real opinion. And so I think prediction markets are very useful for understanding the tides of election.
Amazing. And just to cap it off, Arthur, I have to ask you, I ask every guest as well about Bitcoin. Is it going to million by 2030, or is that a prediction that is not is not
I think so.
one for the
I think if Bitcoin could hit 1 million by 2030, AI bubble collapsing, massive money printing, there's yield curve control of the US. So we have the ingredients. The time is now. So I think the 58,000 was probably the bottom in Bitcoin, and now it's going to grind higher in this hate fuck rally.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Arthur. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.